Maybe.
Because you know why? James Dolan knows that he's going to make money anyway because the Madison Square Garden is going to be filled up every night, probably about 70-30, more tourists than fans.
I just don't understand how an owner could not care about... if you have the flexibility to own a team, if you have that much money to own a team...
Yeah! Marc Talkofsky has just entered the building!
How's it?
Oh, Mark, you're looking good.
Hello,
I feel
everybody.
underdressed. I feel really underdressed. You're in a three-piece suit. I'm in a T-shirt and jeans. This is great. Mark, how are you doing, buddy?
I'll only be here for a little bit, but...
I don't care. Take as much time as you need. You know what? It was funny. He was DMing me on Twitter, can he come in? And I texted him, sure. Why not? I mean, we have an open mic momentarily because Brandon's hopefully getting here soon. Hopefully. I mean, the Fan had his 30th anniversary. Don Imus and Chris Russo were on with Francesa. This is our reunion.
I guess
is our
so.
reunion.
Maybe one of many.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. Oh, I thought you were revealing the lining of your suit jacket like all the NBA prospects.
Marco Fultz.
Hey, that was good. I like
Really
that.
cool. It was really cool.
That was good. So what's on your mind, Mark?
I'm very happy about the Nets trade. Actually.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Well, talk about it, because I had hit on it earlier, but I want to know what you think.
I'm very happy they got rid of Lopez. He's dragging the team down. And not only that, when they played the offense, they were only a 20-25 win team to begin with anyway. So now you get rid of him, it has more hope to do other things. You don't know what D'Angelo Russell's really going to give you. But it's.
I think he's got a lot of potential.
He's got the potential, right? Is he going? And I have a feeling he's going to be better than what Jeremy Lin did, especially last year. He only played 5 games last year.
Just about.
So
I mean, I hear you, Mark. I was jumping off the walls. I was bouncing off the walls. You know I was.
Yes.
I texted you on Tuesday when the trade went down. I was ecstatic. I mean, it's funny. The Nets, worst team in the league last year by record. They're trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's honestly a good time to be a Net fan.
Though that Mozgov thing, I don't know. Are they going to ship him out? Are they going to keep him for how long?
They're probably going to have to keep him. I mean, they're in the position where they kind of have to keep these ridiculously bad contracts like Timofey Mozgov. Andrew Nicholson's not on the best deal. But you know what? I think it's going to work out for the Nets. I really do.
Well, do you think that Mozgov at this point is better than Lopez?
No chance.
No, but maybe rebounding, yes.
Yes, at rebound. Well, I'm a better rebounder than Brook Lopez.
And
I'm a better rebounder than Brook Lopez, and I'm 5'10".
But the one thing they will maybe miss is the three-point shooting.
Yes. Well, that's when you bring Justin Hamilton in.
Yeah.
We do have a caller on the line. Caller, you were on Beyond the Game.
Hi, I'm Ray.
Hey, Marty from Merrick. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Far be it from me to actually consider myself a Knicks fan, but...
I'm sorry.
Well, you grew up in Brooklyn, right?
And far be it for me to actually be a Dolan protector, but all the Knicks fans yelled to Dolan to do something. So what does he do? He brings in Jackson.
Yes, that was a good move at the time, but it's clear it hasn't worked out. So now he needs to do something again.
But at that point, too, you wanted to hope...
But the thing that everybody's missing is, and Dolan stepped aside. He let Jackson do whatever Jackson was going to do.
And now it's clear that isn't working, so he needs to get involved and find an executive who actually knows what he's doing.
And at this point, it's...
Now, you're asking Dolan to step back in.
I've never asked Dolan to step back out. When did I ever say James Dolan shouldn't be involved in the Knicks? I say he doesn't care about him.
Who did they have, though? Grunfeld before?
Yeah,
he
that's
was doing
right.
good.
That's right, Glenn Grunwald they had.
Yeah.
That's right. Very good executive. He brought Melo over. Former Nuggets executive.
Yeah, now let's face it. But, the thing is, Dolan can, basically sit back and say, hey, Jackson's, taken all this abuse, all this criticism. Dolan got to sit back, but it's like the Knicks fans are trying to have it both ways, I think.
Knicks fans want their team to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of out of spite and kind of selfish, too. Because at this point, Phil Jackson wants to trade your best player in Kristaps Porzingis, and nobody's stepping in.
You got to do something if you're Dolan. You got to step in. He's running the organization.
Here's another scenario.
What I think needs to happen is that Phil Jackson, this, supposedly great historical Knick figure who was the number 7 guy on the team, Even Phil seems to forget that one.
Phil Jackson was a good bench piece for the Knicks. That was all he was.
But that's right. He was a bench player.
Okay, so if you want to bring back someone like Dave DeBusschere or Bill Bradley,
the point that
I'm
trying to make, the point that I'm going to make is maybe Jackson needs to remember, modernize himself and realize that this triangle offense just isn't working.
Bingo. But he's not going to do that.
He's not an executive. He's a coach. If he was a coach and teaching the triangle, different story.
And
wouldn't work.
And he's never really coached a bad team.
No, he hasn't.
And just remember, what was it, 2004 he left and Rudy Tonjanovich came over to the Lakers?
Yeah, That's right. That was a good call from Martin from Merrick here on Beyond the Game on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Jake Volk, sitting across from me. Marc Talkofsky, welcome back. I love this.
Yes.
Dominic Arbolino and Eric Fischetti. Number to call if you have something on your mind is 516-572-7440. Hopefully Brandon will join us. Hasn't told me he isn't.
And can I make a quick point on the NHL expansion draft?
Sure.
I think what had happened was the Islanders finally got rid of Berube, right? But what I would have liked to happen is that they got rid of Greiss too, and then Berube would have been picked. Because I thought Greiss had been traded a year or two ago.
Okay.
And then they actually would have made themselves get a real goaltender.
I see your point. We do have a caller on the line. Caller, you were on Beyond the Game.
John from Freeport, and I don't know where this new guy gets off saying Brook Lopez is dragging the franchise down. He's the best player they've had in 20 years. When the ball leaves his hand, it goes right in the hoop. He's got a beautiful touch. But he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. You're saying he's dragging him down.
From an offensive standpoint, I agree with you. But from a defensive standpoint, he's horrible. I mean, he is. He's 7 feet tall. He plays like he's 6 feet tall.
You can't build around him.
He's not an outstanding rebounder. He's
not an outstanding rebounder. That's putting it lightly. I mean, John, I don't know how tall you are, but you can rebound better than him. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
You're 5'10", same as me. Perfect. You know what? You can rebound better than Brook Lopez. I promise you. I mean, I like Brook Lopez. He's been a great soldier.
Are you also 5'9" and 3/4"?
He's been a great soldier for the Nets.
Yeah,
he's put on a good face. He's been in trade.
He said that he's dragging us down. That's terrible. Like, if the rest of the team is so great defensively that Brook Lopez, you can't afford a guy who scores 45 points, at will.
I don't know if Brook Lopez has ever put up 45 points.
I'd rather have a good point guard that can pass the ball around and make it a team game than go and play through one player the whole time.
Especially with Atkinson's system. Because Atkinson isn't built around the low post center. He's a three-point guy. And that's why the Russell trade works so well.
Plus, it was due time for them to get rid of him. I mean, you had the rumors going around for a while now, so it was almost...
a great soldier.
It's good they got something for him. I'm happy about that. You think Mozgov's washed up already? He was fine when he was here 5 years ago.
I think he's drastically overpaid, but I think he's an okay backup. I don't want to pay him $16 million, but at the same time, it's not coming out of my check.
So are you saying that Jared Allen's going to start over him?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Jared Allen will start over Mozgov.
But you think Mozgov's still a solid player, though, right?
You know who he reminds me of? And Mark, you'll appreciate this comparison. He reminds me of Travis Outlaw. Because Travis Outlaw was a decent player, but drastically overpaid.
Right.
I mean, that's the issue. The issue is these guys get these big money deals, and then they can't perform to it. And I don't blame him for taking the money.
Right.
I mean, if someone offered me $64 million, where do I sign?
Well, the Nets often take guys that have one good year and then sign them after for a lot more money, and then...
Remember that? Jordan Farmar, Anthony Morrow, Johan Petro, the disaster that was. French guy.
The two things, in my opinion, Brook Lopez will be remembered most for is that missed three-pointer or side pocket against the Bulls.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that game. It was a TNT game on a Thursday night.
I can't say I do.
But
I'll take your word for
it. The
it.
missed tip-in against the Warriors that would have ended their streak.
Yes. That I remember. That was an excellent call from John from Freeport, by the way. If you want to call, we got 2 straight calls. That was great. 2 really good calls. If you want to call, you can call 516-572-7440. And we'll go back to the NBA. The Bulls traded Jimmy Butler and the 16th overall pick, which was used to select Justin Patton to the Timberwolves for Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and the 7th overall pick. Take care, Mark. Nice seeing you. Oh, will you be coming back? Okay, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Which was used to select Lauri Markkanen last year Butler had 23.9 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game. Dunn had 3.8 points per game, 2.1 rebounds per game, and 2.4 assists per game. And Levine had 18.9 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game. Who do you think won the trade, guys?
Not saying Zach LaVine is a bad player, but the Timberwolves easily won this. And I think now they have a big three there now. You have Jimmy Butler, you have Wiggins, and then you have Karl Anthony Towns. Just heading in such a good direction for the Timberwolves. Definitely adding a better player than Zach LaVine. Again, he was definitely an exciting player. You know, all these crazy dunks, and just to watch him was very exciting. But another thing that you have to remember is that he did tear his ACL this past season. So that's another reason where it's kind of iffy that the Bulls made this trade. I guess they see that they wanted to get rid of Jimmy Butler.
I think it was more that they really liked Chris Dunn, and they wanted the 7th overall pick.
I just think the Bulls made a huge mistake.
You know what? I don't think this is a horrible trade for the Bulls. I think it's 60-40 Timberwolves.
Whose team would you say the Bulls are now? Would you Dwayne Wade? Is it?
No, he opted out.
Well,
Rajon Rondo's team.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I don't know. I don't know if he did opt out. I think he might.
As the paperwork.
Oh wait,
filed?
no, I'm sorry. He was supposed to, but it's not.
Yeah, he's probably opting in
yet.
because it's going to be like 24 point. I don't know. It's like 24 mil or something like that.
The Bulls will be an exciting team with Dunn, Levine, and Markkanen.
Also, don't forget about Mirotic.
Nikola Mirotic, yeah. I like him.
I will say that...
About time you showed up, Brandon. Oh, my goodness gracious. Ready to go golfing.
Better than never. How we doing?
Yeah, better late than never.
Apologies.
You know what? It's quite all right. Work is much more important.
No,
totally
it's not even that. I thought I was going to get out earlier, but these guys took forever. So.
It's quite all right. So what's on your mind?
No, man. Just thinking about the Knicks guard, like how I talked about you with the guys in the chat. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand the Frank Ntilikina.
I already learned his name.
Great. He's a French guard. All right. He was in the pros overseas at 16.
Yeah.
Back in the NBA now at 18. But it's just like I felt like guys like Malik Monk should have been picked over him, honestly. Because, I mean, he's got wingspan, he's got good handles, he's been in the professional league, but I just don't get it.
I mean, I like Malik Monk. You're not going to get me to say a bad word about Malik Monk. Excellent shooter. And I agree with you. I'd have preferred Dennis Smith. But I like Ntilikina. I had it in my mock draft.
No, I've seen it, yeah.
I mean, I nailed it.
Retweeted it. Yeah.
I nailed it. Yeah, you're the best.
Yeah.
At Real Jacob Volk. Brandon Johnson at Steph Johnson _. Marc Talkofsky at Mark Talky 1. Dominic Arbolino at Darbs5258, Eric Fischetti at Sergeant Fish, and Eleanor Chompy at ELLE Hockey Maven, standing right behind me. Give me the depth there. I gotta pimp at her Twitter. But going back to the Knicks, I like Ntilikina. You have a right to be concerned about how he's going to translate to the pros.
Yeah.
There are a lot of European players that don't do it well. I mean, the list starts with Darko Milicic.
I was just about to mention him.
It goes to someone like Johan Petro, who we had hit on earlier when we were talking about the Nets. And yeah, Knicks have had good luck with it. Kristaps Porzingis, Willie Hernan-Gomez. You have a right to be concerned. The Knicks do need impact guys, especially to take over for Derrick Rose, who I know Knicks fans don't like, but he played well. I mean,
That's true, he did. He tried his best.
He played relatively healthy most of the year,
He averaged, 18 points a game? Something like that?
Something
Maybe
like that.
But
you're going to miss
the
that.
thing I didn't like about Rose, he didn't pass enough, and he was too much of a scorer. And
with the triangle,
with the triangle and everything, he couldn't really facilitate. And
when
back
are they going to get rid of the
end,
triangle? That's what I'm wondering.
When Phil
They're
goes.
not.
He leaves.
They're not. As soon as Phil leaves, then the triangle is
I feel like
gone.
other teams in the NBA do use the triangle, but not in the
I was going to say, not to that extent.
Not to that extent.
I mean, you can
Phil,
flip your offense around all you want, but if you live and die by the triangle, you better have the personnel to do it.
That's what
and the
I'm
Knicks
saying.
don't.
But Brandon, I will tell you that I didn't expect them to pick Ntilikina. I actually wanted Dennis Smith. He reminds me of Eric Bledsoe. But I do think that Ntilikina is going to work out. I really do, because of all the European...
it's not like I'm degrading him or anything like that, because I feel like he's going to be a great fit too, you know what I mean? Especially with his wingspan and his athleticism,
I think it's going to be the chemistry that's going to help out a lot.
Yeah, I think so too.
So let's get out of the NBA draft and go to some huge news that kind of got swept under the rug. The Cavaliers fired David Griffin.
Yeah, it didn't.
In his 3 years as Cleveland's GM, they made the NBA Finals all 3 years. How do you fire someone like that? They won the NBA Finals once. They broke Cleveland's curse. Brandon, what do you think of the firing?
I think it's just, nothing is ever good enough for the Cavaliers, especially in Dan Gilbert's eye. I mean, LeBron literally advocated for David Griffin to come back. But I seem like that's not enough. You take a team, starting from scratch with Kyrie Irving, who was your number one overall pick, and you